Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and start the meeting. We're not going to have a roll call yet because we do not have a quorum. We will, of course, not consider any items that are action items, but in the interest of time and our guests, and we have some people online as well, I would like us to go ahead and begin, and we can cover information items only. So, welcome. Good afternoon. And so this will be a little bit different from when we normally do it, so be patient with me. So we are going to have our roll call later once we make quorum. We do have our final member who has confirmed who is en route, so that might be shortly. But we will begin, and let's go ahead and start with our customarily our silent meditation. Today, let's keep the community of Uvalde, the victims and their family members, let's hold them in our hearts as they seek to heal and understand. So we will have a short moment of silent meditation. Okay, thank you very much. We will postpone the approval of the minutes. Can we review any public comments at this point?
I have two public comments we've received via email.
Okay.
Our first public comment was received on May 10th from Ken Fletcher. It reads as follows. Fee for meeting rooms, meeting room usage limits based on number of people, enforcement of noise limits. I urge you to stop blocking the public from using your facilities, particularly the meeting rooms. Charging $20 per hour to use the meeting rooms as study rooms or for job interviews is egregious and discriminatory based on economic background and race, ethnicity, and national origin based on socioeconomic background of the communities surrounding your locations. What is the average pay of your constituency for the Cortez Library area? Also, by allowing talking, screaming, yelling, and laughing by the staff and the library users, including unattended children and use of electronic devices without earphones, defeats the purpose of having libraries, and you should all summarily be relieved of your positions and the whole organization shut down as you are working in cooperation with public and private partnerships to install attention blocking and focus destroying loud music and noise that our children have been desensitized to in public areas and private retail establishments. Retail establishments and the media are distractions from mass vaccination programs with dangerous vaccines for profit, distractions from egregious amounts of money spent on wars for Israel and Ukraine, for example, and distraction from the debasement of our currency to maintain the price of yachts and other assets of the extremely wealthy. It is obvious based on the focus of educational policy, particularly decreased rigor by various methods in conjunction with central bank policy around the world, debasing our currency, that there is a war on the middle and lower classes by privileged persons and foreign interests who want a neo-feudal system with a dumbed-down, dependent lower class. They want the middle class eradicated, and I feel like I need to point out that you all are on the board. Our next public comment was received on May 20th, also via email from Lupe Sandoval. It reads as follows. I think the library board needs to know how low staff morale is. I have a family member that works for the public library. I won't say who to protect them, but I've been told that all staff are really unhappy with their pay, the hours required of them, and then some of the offices in back are hot, like 85 degrees. I don't know who needs to hear it, but some staff cry, some staff are always angry. They don't feel they get help from the director and the bosses. I know they don't feel they have anyone to turn to for help because the director doesn't listen or try to help. A lot of people are quitting, a lot of people want to quit or are looking for other work. Something needs to be done. The library is loved by all the city. The way staff is treated is just sad and a poor reflection of the city. This concludes public comments.
Great, thank you very much. We will move on to item number 2, which is a report from the Library Board Chair, information item. So I wanted to remind everyone, or let everyone know, that today's meeting is being live streamed via WebEx. There was an email sent out to the board members with updated information on the library board roster, updated information on the board committees with the designated staff liaisons, which were updated, and a charge and responsibilities for each library board committee, and all that was sent out for your information already. And we also have a copy of those documents in your packet. So we'll move on to item number 3, reports from the trustees. Let's start with Joanne. Joanne, I'm going to say, let's turn on the microphone as well there, just, yeah, thanks.
Okay, I did, I was fortunate to go to the book festival, and I really enjoyed it. I was able to go to 3 author sessions in the afternoon, and I went by the library booth that they had, and by the Friends of the Library. I went by their booth and spent some time. And I'm really happy and very pleased, and took some pictures in front of the big tent that they had here. They had it really decorated, really nice, with the lights and everything. Then I also attended the 7th Pan-African Culture Festival at the Carver Branch Library, and it is their 7th event doing that, and it just gets larger every year. And I was very pleased with the different type of booths that they had. They had a lot of vendors, and the community really did come out and support them. And I also got to go to the beautiful McCreeless Branch Library. I was very pleased that I got to go to that. And that's where I went to vote. And I like the way they have their voting system set up, because, you know, at Schaefer's, you have to walk across, but at McCreeless, you just go in one door. You don't even have to go into the library. So that was library portion. So that was very nice. I think that's about it.
That was an improvement that the community had asked for, was to make that.
Well, it's nice.
Unfortunately, I didn't get to go to the book festival, but it looked very fun. I did go to the luncheon, and actually Ms. Harris joined for the luncheon. So there was a luncheon with Susan Orlean, author of the library book, but she was focused on the book on animals. It was great luncheon. Also visited the 2 libraries of mine that are open out of the 4 right now. So that was good to visit, missing the other 2. And also joined a meeting with the Friends of the Memorial Branch Library. They had a lot of concerns, and Amito and staff were there to help address some of those concerns. And I think that's mostly it. Is
there anything else that you want to update us on?
Not library related, but I think you're hinting at. So I'm hinting
at something. Yes,
I did just recently, 2 weeks ago, graduate with my Master of Arts in Public History. So that's from St. Mary's University. So thank you.
That's great. And thanks for acknowledging, because that's a big deal, and we're happy for you. So congratulations on that. Thanks, Jeremy. Linda?
I also attended the book festival, which sadly it was the first time I'd done that in the 10 years they've had it, but I went. I was really happy to go, and it was lovely. And I found a good parking place in the morning over by Club Giroux, which was free, which I like that, because I like free. And it was nice. Everybody seems to be happy, and it's just such a wonderful thing for people to get together, and learn about different authors that they haven't heard of before, and books that they haven't heard, and just enjoy books. I just thought that was really, really nice. And it was nice. And it was nice to meet some authors that I've read before and really enjoyed their books and actually got to see them in person. That was nice. I also made the rounds of my libraries, and they're doing well, and I'm very pleased with them, and they seem to be happy, and I didn't get any complaints from anybody. And I want to mention that Thousand Oaks will be having, their friends group will be having a book sale on Saturday, June the 4th. So they would love for people to come. I think it's from 2 to 3 in the afternoon. So it's a good place to buy books. So that's my news. Okay.
Free is also my favorite brand. So,
And it was in the shade.
yeah, I'll take a quick moment. So, yeah, I was able to attend the book festival. It was great event. I was really impressed with how the library certainly how the book festival organization and committee, how they handled it. But also, I mean, the library looked great. I know that, I mean, the challenges with trying to have that take place with construction and while keeping the library open and functioning, I'm sure was huge. But it looked great outside, fresh mulch, and a lot of great volunteers. I will say that, I mean, it's obviously important to all of us that we maintain library services as much as possible and still, you know, tactfully and judiciously entertain events that utilize the library spaces, right? And a very close friend of mine actually desperately needed to type up three reports that he had due for a special class that he's taking, and had no other alternative but to come to the Central Library, and was able to get his stuff printed out and done, and it was just a reminder to me, you know, how important our services are, even while we're in the midst of celebrating and doing the special events that the library, the book festival conducted. But the book festival is great. I enjoyed hearing the authors as well, and just makes me very proud to be part of a city that celebrates literacy in that way. So, just Bree?
Thank you. I echo your sentiments, and I had someone say the most curious thing to me about the Brooklyn Book Festival. One of the authors was like, "Have you been to the Brooklyn Book Festival?" And I said, "No, but I feel like I should probably go." And he said, this festival gives me the exact same vibe, and with all the stalls and people selling things, and, you know, families walking around. And I'll admit I haven't been, I didn't look it up, but it's being equated to me just sounded really cool. So I was like, thank you. I'll pass that along. And I also had several people stop me. I don't know if this happened with you, Marcy, but Marcy and I got our bags, our 10th anniversary bags together, and several people were like, "Where did you get that bag? I'd like to buy it." So maybe an idea we can pass to Lily regarding having those bags for next time, and her team. I attended the Friends meeting on Sunday along with Josie, and we had some really great feedback regarding, I'm sure John will share that, regarding the book sales at the bookseller during the book festival. So I thought that was nice to see the connection between some of our supporting stakeholders. And in addition to like visiting my local branches, I also went to IGO to vote yesterday, and there was a nice turnout there. So nice to see that even some of these major elections, as a primary runoff election, is still garnering a lot of visitors that were coming in. People were waiting in line, and then afterwards waiting in this little makeshift area that the Friends have set up with a couple chairs and some books, and like browsing books. So I thought that was a nice use of people just kind of lingering in that
Right.
space.
Well, I think that the bags are an interesting idea, and perhaps that can be included with our membership benefit.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and, you know, if you join, you get the bag, and maybe some other things we can put inside. Something to think about. What I've really loud, but anyway, so, yeah, so I also attended the book festival, but I want to focus on the fact that it was so well organized. And, you know, the website was amazing to me, and I'm not sure exactly who put it together, so I'm not sure who to thank for that, but it was the best it's the best one they've ever had, because you could really see, I mean, it was just so much easier to follow, and then I enjoyed having things online, and so it was a really wonderful day. I also had a book sale at Parman Library, and they have a new set of friends in there it's the best I think they've come up with in a long time, and that was wonderful to see. And I have to really give kudos, because it was the most organized book festival or book sale I've been to. I mean, it was amazing what they had done, and I could see they'd put in an enormous amount of time and energy, and it was good to get there to catch up with Barb Kwiatkowski, who is the director there, and to see they have, I don't know how many other branches have this, but at Parman they have treadmills now. So people come in and they get their book and they get on their treadmills, and if they just made it into such a family community center there, and what a great idea! I mean, these people running these libraries really do a great job. And speaking of that, they're coming up with the date in the very near future for the opening of the playground at Encino Branch Library, and I'm looking forward to that. And again, I'm thanking Councilman Courage for stepping up and helping that community out there. So I'm looking forward to that, and hope that we all can, come together and share that moment. So that's about it.
Yes, I wanted to give Lily some feedback on their website. It was fantastic, the way you could build your schedule. It's the most convenient it's ever been. I think it's that web designer, that web company deserves a lot of credit for a great site that they built. And, great. Well, thank you very much. And so we do now have a quorum, and I'd like to then take us back to a roll call, if you could, please.
For today's meeting on May 25th, 2022, we will conduct a roll call. Joanne Harris? Present. Jeremy Landine? Present. Paul Stahl?
Here.
Preet Kaur? Here. Marcy Ince? Present. Linda Nairn? Here. Jean Brady, Judy Cruz, Fernanda Cardenas, Josie Martinez, and Andrea Sanchez Munoz are not in attendance today, but we do have a quorum.
We will go back to our an action item that we missed, item number 1, approval of the minutes from our meeting from April 27th. So an error was discovered in the minutes portion of what was emailed to you guys, to all of us. On page 4, in the third paragraph, the date has been updated to reflect the year 2022, and the word tabled was replaced with the word postponed. So the current minutes that we have, the current minutes now reflect those updates. So I'll accept any motions.
I'll move that we accept the minutes for that April 27th meeting. A second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Any discussion? Okay. If you could take us through a vote, please. Thanks.
A roll call vote for item number 1, Joanne Harris. This is a roll call vote to approve item number 1. Jeremy Landine. Paul Stahl.
Yes.
Preet Kaur.
Yes.
Marcy Ince. Linda Nairn. The action passes.
That takes us to item number 4, our director's report, or a report from our director.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There is a written report in your packet. I'll be happy to respond to any questions. I do have some other items I would like to add. First, I would like to acknowledge our Assistant City Manager, Mr. David McCary. He's here with us. Welcome, David. I also want to provide public kudos to the book festival organizers, to Lily and her team, but just as importantly to our team, the SAPL team, led by Jessica Zurita, Assistant to the Director, and the communications team. It was a collective effort, so a lot of teams worked to help make the book festival the success it was, and it was very successful. By the way, I did get also feedback regarding how easy it was to schedule the events, and then the feedback came from the mayor's wife, Erica Prosper. So I wanted to acknowledge that. But again, I want to publicly acknowledge all the library team from the facilities, public services. They did a wonderful job, continuing to provide quality customer service in spite of all the folks going in and out into the different places where authors were speaking and so on. So kudos to all the library staff for their efforts and their contributions to a successful book festival. We also had someone from the Columbus Library District who was visiting to look at the book festival, how it operated, and was in close connection with Jessica because they're seeing this book festival as a model. They will be celebrating, I think, 150 years next year, and part of their plan is to have a book festival in Columbus. So they came down, one person came down to look at our book festival to see how it operated. And again, by any measure, the book festival was extremely successful, and I'm very proud of all of our staff. The Freedom to Read resolution was presented and approved to City Council on May 12th. Thanks to Councilwoman Ana Sandoval, who led the effort. As a result of that resolution, we are planning to have a special exhibit of, they're banned books, but we're going to call them Freedom to Read. And the mayor has committed to join us to do a public event once that is planned, and that's in the planning stages at this point. So I don't have any additional information other than we're planning to do that. This morning I had an opportunity to do block walking with several staff members, including Jessica and our consultants that are working with us on the community needs assessment. I block walked with Councilwoman Castillo. It was an interesting experience for me. It was my first time to do block walking, and part of the purpose of the block walking is to ask individuals in the community to respond to a survey, as we are trying to learn more and collect more information about those communities, especially in the west, the south, and the east, and how the library can be more responsive to their needs. So I really appreciated that opportunity to do that. As Jeremy reported, we did have a meeting with the District 5 office a couple of weeks ago, and as a result of that, we've got some things moving forward regarding interim services for Memorial Branch Library since we're hitting the summer, and the project has been delayed. So we've had some productive discussions right now with St. Mary's University as a possible location, but we haven't completed the work yet. I mentioned this to Councilwoman Castillo this morning, and we will provide an update via email to all the stakeholders that participated in the meeting. I'm saddened to report that Ron Zuzak, who is here, Library Services Administrator, I thought he was going to be here. He escaped. He will be leaving us. He accepted a position as Library Director at the Muskegon District Library in Michigan. Ron has been with the San Antonio Public Library for about 5 years. He's been a valued team member of the leadership team, and we're going to miss him, but we are happy for him. He's going back home. Michigan is his home, and but he's going to be missed. Also, I'm saddened to say that Lynn, our Executive Secretary, will be leaving us also. Friday will be her last day, and we're sorry to see her leave as well, but we really enjoyed having her. I wanted to report also that I had requested a meeting with the Friends of the San Antonio Public Library Executive Committee, which was held on May 14th. to have a conversation about, as we're coming out of the pandemic, I feel there's an opportunity to, including SAPL, we're reinventing ourselves, to also look at reinventing the Friends of the San Antonio Public Library. So Jessica will be leading this project. We will be looking at best practices, looking at other operational models that exist throughout the country. And we have invited the Friends leadership to be part of this effort. And Mr. John Costello has been designated as the point of contact to be working with myself and with Jessica as we move forward on this project. More to come in future meetings regarding this initiative. I'm happy to report that our summer reading program will kick off on June 1st at 10 a.m. at the McCreeless Branch Library. The mayor has confirmed, and he will be there to participate in the kickoff. I also attended the Pan-African event at the Carver Branch Library. It's a wonderful experience. I also attended a Hindu exhibit at the John Igo Branch Library, which from those two experiences, I have proposed an idea to our coordinator of adult programs of possible fall festival here at the Central Library that would bring similar groups, including those two groups, to the Central Library so that we can celebrate different cultures, provide food experiences and other experiences to educate the community of the different cultures that reflect our community. And that concludes my report. I'm happy to respond to any questions that you may have.
Thanks, Romero. Any of the trustees have any questions? Just Breed, I see you're reaching for the button.
Yes, I have a couple of questions. I love that idea. That sounds fantastic. I'm also very sad to hear about Ron and Lynn, who have both been in service to the board in addition to their service to the staff. So I guess it's the appropriate thing is to wish them well, right? And not to be upset that they're gone, so that they're leaving. Yes. I did want to ask, I was pleased to see in the circulation numbers that SEMS branch has like really had an uptick in materials and circulation. I'm curious if there's any idea as to why or how that happened. It's obviously a great thing. I'm just curious. And I have a specific programming question, but I'll let you respond.
Well, I'm going to ask Dale to help me respond to your question regarding the uptick in programming and at SIMS usage.
Think on your feet, Dale.
He's very good at it.
I don't think there's any particular reason that we're aware of. They do have a relatively new manager who I know has been, working to increase use, but I don't know any particular reason.
Thank you. I was just curious about that, looking at the top libraries and seeing some movement there. I did notice in the programming that there was a plant exchange at SEMS, and I didn't participate in that, but I thought it was such a lovely idea, especially amidst this renewed focus since April. I feel around the world, but definitely have been hearing a lot more with the younger generation about global warming and about, creating awareness of like small things that you can do to help counter that. So plant swap and just even like gardening group, it seems like such a great idea. And to see the library, as Paul mentioned, kind of transform during the book festival to be about books, but not like physically just centered around the books. That just seems like a lovely idea. So I'd love to hear how that went, if they considered it a success, and if that might expand in the future. Sorry, Dale. For you to share the feedback. And there are a number of like very active gardening groups out in San Antonio too, and they're always like cutting and repotting and sharing, and distributing things. So just to tap into that wealth of knowledge, I think would be really, really great.
Well, thank you for the feedback, and we will continue to expand in those kinds of activities. Our focus going forward is the customer experience. So it means, and from different perspectives, not only when they walk in, how they're received, but also what we offer for them. We want to offer, again, multiple experience that promotes learning, that where they go away learning something, taking away something. And working on the strategic plan, we'll be learning more about the expectations as well, so that we can respond to the expectations of the communities. And part of the block walking today is to gather more information, to hear the voices of the communities that we serve in terms of what they expect of the library, how we can respond better to their expectations, but also at the same time create multiple kinds of experiences.
Thank you.
Yes, it is.
When Sims was built, it was state of the art. I mean, there's solar, everything. There's something up on the roof that lightens and dims the light inside depending on how cloudy it is. There's this huge, I don't know what you called it, a water tank outside the cistern that we used to laugh when it first opened because it was supposed to gather rainwater and we were in the middle of a drought. So it's like if it ever rains, that will be lovely. But, we have had rain lately. But that was to be used. And there's also, if you haven't noticed, there's a garden inside, garden outside. And so, which I noticed Jorge has put little garden gnomes and cutesy things in it, which I thought was kind of funny. But he's got a garden gnome that's reading, which that was appropriate. But there is a lot of stuff there. And I remember when it was built, I think we had an American Library Association thing, or maybe it was just the Texas one that met here, and they bussed people out to look at Sims because it was the state-of-the-art library at the time. So it's really got a lot going for it out there. Yeah. Yeah.
Questions for Ramiro on his director's report? Okay. Thank you, Ramiro. We'll move on to item number 5, budget report for April 2022. Information item led by Gabby.
Hi, good afternoon, board members and board chair. Good to be here tonight. I'm going to just give you a brief update on your board budget report as of the end of April. It starts on page 65 of your packet if you're viewing it online, or it's printed on the green paper in front of you. So as of the end of April, 58% of the fiscal year had elapsed, and we were at 58% spent with encumbrances or 55% without them. So we're still overall slightly behind on spending, but this is due still to personnel savings and utilities. On May 19th, Council approved an ordinance amending the fiscal year 22 annual operating budget, which is based on actual revenues and expenditures for the first 6 months of the fiscal year, plus projections for the remaining 6 months. This included a reduction, bottom line reduction, to the library's operating budget in the amount of $326,492, which represents just under 1% of our total annual operating budget. The reduction was for the known savings in personnel services and utilities. And this will not affect our ability in the current fiscal year to provide services or continue operations for the library. I will have this reduction in the budget report for next month. So that's my update for this month. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Gabby. Any questions? Because I was going to ask on the encumbrances, so that'll be later. Okay. Any questions on the report?
I do have one question. Looking at the major gifts, with the Library Foundation and the Book Festival organizations splitting, is there any impact to the gifts that the library or the benefits that the library receives as a result of that?
If Jessica has any more insight, or,
I can respond to that. Not the book festival. The book festival does fundraising, but to support the actual book festival. They don't do fundraising to contribute to the library. It's only the Library Foundation and, of course, the Friends.
Right, okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Gabby. Move on to item number 6, report from the Executive Committee. We met on May 17th to set this agenda. Item 7, report from the Budget Committee.
Yeah, well, the budget committee did meet and, just make sure. Will provide the report for us, thank you.
so the Budget Committee did meet on May 16th at 4 p.m. And Kathy provided a recap of the May 11th City Council session in regards to the current fiscal year 6+6 projections, the 5-year forecast, which is fiscal year 2023 to 2027, and the city manager's trial budget that was presented for fiscal year 23. We'll just highlight a couple of the major themes. So she did speak about the homestead exemptions, since those are going to be a big focus for fiscal year 23. And Troy Elliott, the city's Deputy Chief Financial Officer, presented a list of recommendations that will be considered and action will be taken by council later in June. For the 5-year forecast and the trial budget that was presented, I'm happy to report that the library had some exciting items included in those projections. So for the 5-year forecast, there were 2 mandates included as a result of the bond projects. The first mandate includes the addition of 2 full-time positions for the Texana area here at Central. And the other one includes the addition of 3 full-time and 1 part-time employee for the expansion of the Carver Branch Library. Included in the city manager's trial budget was the library's request for $1 million to increase funding for library books and materials. So, of course, as we move along through the budget process, things are up for change, but we're very excited to see that in the presentation that was given to council. And the next agenda item that she reviewed was the current year 6+6 estimate, and I just gave you a brief report in my board report. So council approved that mid-year adjustment on May 19th, which reduced, bottom line, the library's budget by $326,000, which I stated earlier. The last item on the agenda was next steps in the fiscal year 23 budget process development, and that includes the May and the June budget input activities that the city has planned. So a budget survey has been released on the SA Speak Up website, which I believe we'll be sending out a link to you all for reference. And then the dates for the community input meetings are still forthcoming. But there will be a total of 10 budget community input meetings, and that's 1 per council district. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, and I'll just seeing that the ad hoc bond committee and the PR chair is not here, under the category of like budget, the bond passing was obviously very exciting, and we're thankful to the city manager and to the city manager staff for continuing to support us. But I think it's still really important for the trustees to stay on top of the budget, even if you're not on the budget committee, and just stay plugged in with your network in terms of those committee meetings, because the purpose is for that transparency and for, you know, for others to speak up in support of libraries. So don't stop doing that just because we got through the bond. We want to get through this budget cycle, and then there will be another one too. Thank you. Thank you, Gabrielle.
Great reminder. There's always this tendency to want to exhale for a long period of time and maybe just exhale for a little one and then keep plugging away. Thank you very much. Thank you, Gabby. Next, we'll move on to item number 8, a report from the Facilities Committee. And Andre is not with us today, but
Sure. Yes, the Facilities Committee did meet on May 11th, and we had 3 topics that were on our agenda. 2 of them you'll be looking at later this afternoon. The information item for the World Heritage Center over at the Mission Branch site, and then the design for the Texana bond project up on the 6th floor. The other item that we had were the project updates, so I'll just run through a few projects that we've got going on and give you some quick updates. We've got the Westfall Branch Library. That obviously is a deferred maintenance project. We've had some issues there because we've discovered asbestos in the flooring material. We are working closely with Public Works Department on going through the proper abatement processes, doing all of the requirements that the state has. They're working on a schedule right now. We managed this week to go through the process of getting all the funding in place because there's obviously some additional costs involved. Edward, do you want to go to the next slide? And we've got our communication plan in place at Westfall to let everybody know what's going on. We're going to be putting signs up all around the place when the abatement process does start as required by the state. We are providing interim service over at the Granados Adult and Senior Center. We're again working on the schedule with Public Works. We're hoping that we can maybe be back in, have the place back open in several months. We're looking at least a 2 to 3 month delay because of the abatement process. There's a lot of requirements from the state, a lot of reporting that we have to do, so we've got to make sure all the bells and whistles are covered appropriately. But we're working very closely with Public Works Department and their environmental staff to make sure everything's done according to plan. So next, we've got our Bazan Branch Library, which is another deferred maintenance project, very similar to Westfall in that it's carpet, paint, restroom renovations, things like that. We did not have any problems at Bazan, so this project is moving along. Next slide. We've got our communication plan going. Interim service is currently being provided at the San Antonio Natatorium. Work began April 11th, and we're actually planning to reopen the branch on June 4th. They're finishing up the parking lot right now. We've had some, believe it or not, we've had some rain delays. It never happens unless you're starting a parking lot or a roof. So here's a couple of quick construction photos. So we redid some concrete outside. We've redone the sidewalks. As you can see, the main approach, we tore all the sidewalks in the front of the building out, and we replaced them all. So that's all working. We're updating the landscaping in that area as well. And then the next one shows the interior. We've done some painting in there, all new color schemes, new carpet. It's really going to look nice. Next month, I'm really looking forward to having some great photos to show you all after we reopen. So, the Forest Hills Branch weather repairs, that project is moving along. We've had the contractor in there since March 21st. They've actually been making quite a bit of progress. So we've got a couple of pictures on the inside. They've started making some of the repairs on the drywall, and they're getting ready to put the carpeting in, and we'll be starting on the shelving and furniture soon. So we'll be coordinating all the other activities, and we'll be looking to reopen that probably in the fall or early winter. So we'll develop a schedule on that and present that in the next couple of months, a little tighter. The Memorial Branch Bond Project, that's still moving along, obviously. We're building the front of the building right now. We've had a lot of communication with the Friends Group and concerned stakeholders over there, so we're having a robust communication plan to make sure everybody's aware of how things are moving along. Next slide. We have a couple pictures here of the new front. So they've got the slab poured and the steel is going up. They're working on enclosing that front. So that's going to look really nice once that goes. And we're hoping for a late summer, early fall reopening of Memorial. And that's it for me. Any questions on projects? There is also the construction report is in your packet. And if you have any other questions, you can just let me know.
Thank you, Mark. Any questions on that update? Ask it.
One, I think it's really great to see all the. Oh, sorry, it's really great to see all the work going on at all the libraries. But of course, I'm very excited to see Memorial and Bazan moving along. I think one of the questions that a community member just recently posed was about the landscaping. She said she asked somebody who was on site at the library about if landscaping would be redone, and they said, well, I don't think so. So I said I would ask that question. So I'm asking that question.
We are redoing some of the lands because when we obviously tore out the sidewalks and stuff, that messed up a lot of stuff. So we're going to get in there, revamp the irrigation system, and we brought in some topsoil and we're hydroseeding. And unfortunately at Bazan, they've got them big trees right in the front, but we're going to work with our landscape people to see what we can do to keep it, to keep whatever we do in there growing effectively, yeah.
Then just on Memorial, I think we had spoke briefly, I think I mentioned it to Kathy in one of the meetings about maybe doing like some sort of signage for the art pieces that are moving around the library there at Memorial.
Oh, inside, yes. The
Yes.
interpretive signage, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so that
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
that is-
that's
okay.
definitely on our list of things to take care of, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Mark? Yeah, landscaping is tricky. We all want it to be all lush and beautiful like the botanical gardens, but it takes an awful lot of maintenance, and it's a challenge. But I'm glad you asked that question and got that answered for who you were representing there. Any other questions for Mark before I move on? Okay, thanks again, Mark. We'll move on to item number 9, a report from the naming committee. Linda?
The naming committee met on May the 3rd, and we had a suggestion from one of our city council members that we name the meeting room at McCreeless Branch Library after Mrs. Elizabeth Trainer. And we're going to have a community input meeting at McCreeless Branch at 10 o'clock on Saturday, June 18th, which everybody's invited to attend. We would love to have you there. But we'll have a meeting, and hopefully this won't be as exciting as our last one was. So, yeah. But we're going to look into that, and we've done this. Library people have done some research on this lady, and we're going to go forth with this suggestion.
Just for the record, let me make sure her name is read clear here. It's the suggested name was Liz Cornelia Gainsland Trainer. So, good. And
Probably going to end up calling it the Lizzie Room or something like that.
kind of premature to say what they're going to be calling it, but I'm just playing. Also, it looks like we'll be receiving a request by Ronald Lorton, bless you, to name the meeting room at the Thousand Oaks Library in honor of his mother, Grace E. Lorton. So sounds like that'll be coming to the naming committee for consideration.
I believe our rules, she needs to be dead for a year before we start considering it
Well,
seriously.
that's all part of the consideration.
We need to send a letter to him to tell him.
Thank you, Linda. Item number 10, a report from the Public Relations Committee. They did not meet, but we may hear something up there.
Good afternoon. The Public Relations Committee did meet on May 10th. I apologize for the typo. But the committee did meet via WebEx on May 10th, and I do have a brief report from that committee meeting. The committee received information regarding the library's April performance statistics related to the marketing strategy that the team has employed, and this slide provides you an overview with those statistics. Couple key stories that we wanted to highlight that helped drive the statistics. The first was the opening of the McCreeless Branch Library, which did garner a lot of media attention. We did have some cameras on site promoting the reopening of the facility. And of course, libraries serving as voting locations, which we had elections in May as well as in April. So that also helped with some media attention to the library. And the next slide will talk about 2 of our top social media posts. Of course, this does exclude our April 1st, April Fool's Day post, which was very successful. Aside from that, we did have 2 library-focused social media posts. The first is a campaign that we initiated to more of a spring cleaning. Find your books, return your books, and come back and borrow more books. And this is an attempt to remind our community members who have checked out books and maybe they've been put on a shelf or hidden behind somewhere as you're cleaning up to please bring them back and I was guilty and had 2 in my car that I've been driving around with for a week, and so I finally remembered and brought them back in. So these reminders do provide some very needed incentive for folks to come back to the library and bring their books. We also celebrated Happy World Book Day, and this was a very popular post on our social media as well. Next, we'll be talking about some recent events. Of course, the book festival, we all know, just took place this Saturday, was very popular. The library was tagged a lot on social media. We helped push out on our side social media related to the book festival. So we were very excited to showcase the Central Library and to have so many individuals come to our grounds. It was very nice to see that after a 2-year hiatus. And our next is a program that Ramiro also spoke about previously. It's the Pan-African Cultural Festival. We did a lot of marketing to promote this event at the Carver Center. The Carver Library, and it was a very successful event. It's the 7th annual, and we do partner with the Friends of the Carver Library in putting this event together. So we were very excited and happy to promote the event. Next, looking at upcoming campaigns, we have put together a Pride Month campaign, which will be launching soon. Our library locations throughout the system have developed some programming at all age levels, and we will be promoting those programs, and as well as our collections in the coming weeks. Next, we'll have Summer with SAPL. As Ramiro mentioned, the June 1st kickoff for the summer reading program. Mayor Nuremberg will be in attendance. You should be receiving a printed invitation in the mail, but we will also get you an invitation on via Outlook so that you have that as well. It is at 10 o'clock, June 1st, at the McCreeless Library. We will be showcasing the newly renovated McCreeless Library for that event. Also coming up is our Pop Madness program. We took an approach this year of a 2-prong strategy for this program because of COVID numbers. So we did one previously, smaller scale, and then it's going to continue in the end of May. Actually, that's in the next few days. So it'll be coming to the Igo Branch Library. So they're going to be a buzz with artists, authors, some gaming, and lots of activity there. And finally, as Ramiro mentioned previously, we are undergoing a community needs assessment. This week we have been block walking library locations. We are spending 1 day every day this week at 5 targeted library locations that have a low response rate to our user and non-user survey. And so this approach is a targeted approach so that we can reach our users and non-users at their houses and basically knock on their doors and talk to them about the library, try and get some information from them for our survey. And anybody that we miss, they're not at home, we're leaving a door hanger. And that door hanger is bilingual. It has a link to our survey, and it also has a coupon at the bottom. And if you bring that coupon into one of the 5 libraries those areas that we're focused on this week, you can show the coupon, your library card, or get a library card, and we will give you a library bag. And so that's another incentive to get folks to come into the library. The 5 libraries that we're targeting, Monday we were at the Mission Library area. Yesterday we were at the Carver Library area. Today we were at Las Palmas. Tomorrow we will be in the area surrounding the Cortez Library. And then Friday we will be in the area surrounding the Bazan Library. We've had library staff come in, volunteer for shifts, and it's been really great to get out there and meet our users and potential users. It's been a great experience. Also, as you came in today, you may have seen a banner that said Hola and had some information on it. This is a new initiative that the City of San Antonio has launched so that our Spanish-speaking community members, when they attend a meeting, they're able to identify easily a member of the library or city staff who can speak Spanish and help them answer any questions they may have. So our staff members who speak Spanish will be placing a sticker on their clothing. And today, Elma is serving that purpose for us. She will be available if anybody would need some assistance with translation or have some questions in Spanish. We will be rolling out this program with the City of San Antonio in various community settings, community meeting settings, so that we can be as inclusive as possible for meetings. And then just finally, one note is that today we did pause all of our communications just out of respect for the victims and the families that were impacted by the tragedy in Uvalde. So we did go silent today. We will evaluate tomorrow what would seem appropriate. So if you don't see SAPL out there, it's a strategic reason. And that is the report, if you have any questions.
Jessica, on this Speak Up, or the community needs assessment, is that, where is that on our website? Not exactly where, but I just mean, is there coordination on the website, or is that in banners, or?
What we did is we, for the user survey, we emailed all of the library patrons who have an email account within the library system. So we sent that as an email targeted. And the Library Foundation helped us with a final push for that survey for an incentive HEB gift card. So that went out via email. The non-user survey, we're using a list that our consultants have developed and are using for email for the non-user survey. Right now, we don't have it on our website. We can certainly put it up there. It's just we relied on the email avenue in which to drive. We also, with our consultants, did what we call intercept surveys, where our consultants took the survey out to local grocery stores, other areas of congregation that folks naturally congregate, to get some data, collect data from our users as well. After we do the block walking, we'll relook at if we need to take another approach to make sure that we have a representative sample of our community. And then we will also, the next step would be a focus groups in various communities to get additional feedback. So we're taking a multi-pronged approach to gathering feedback.
Jessica, do you have a target number of responses that you're
We do. I don't have that, but we do. Our consultants, every day from we're block walking, we're charting the numbers and okay, we need 2 more from this, or we need 3 more. And so they're very much targeting the response rate to make sure that it's representative. Yes.
Questions for Jessica? Okay, thank you very much. Item number 11, a report from the Ad Hoc Board Policy Committee. I'm assuming that committee did not meet. Item number 12, report from the Ad Hoc 2022 Bond Committee. The committee did not meet, but as Jaspreet mentioned, we thank that committee for their hard work. The bond did pass, and that was great news. I'm sure everyone was watching for that outcome. It seemed a little bit dicey for a little while, but it did pass. So, item number 13, a report from the San Antonio Public Library Foundation. Hey, welcome.
We were at Book Festival on Saturday. So I just wanted to thank all the trustees that were able to make it to the Literacy Caravan and see our technology upgrades. I know Amy talks about that all the time. So it was nice to have you all on board. We were there from 8 to 5. It was a hot, hot day. But it was our very first Literacy Caravan community event since COVID. So it was nice to be able to see smiling faces, and we were able to give out a ton of books that day. On a fundraising perspective, we are relaunching Texana fundraising to make sure that the scope is fully funded. Amy and I are reaching out to donors, and we are also submitting a few grants for that project. And then on a very exciting opportunity, the Charity Ball Association announced up to a $1 million grant They haven't done this since 2015. And so it is a competitive opportunity. I'm sure there will be a lot of nonprofits. Only one nonprofit in Bexar County will receive this grant. Our tentative project right now is a system-wide upgrade to the teen areas in all the branches. So it's really important for the foundation for the teens to be able to have not only a space of their own, but to be able to have a safe space within all our branches. So we are hoping to be able to submit that grant, and then we will know in the fall whether we are awarded. And then for Katrina Ball, we are chugging along. I'm sure Amy has mentioned that Prosper Nierenberg has accepted to be our Katrina. And a few days ago, Rick Cavender agreed to be our Katrine, so we're very excited. We are currently working on our chairs, so we're working on executive and honorary chairs. And then lastly, as of July 1st, the foundation will be adding 6 new board members.
Can you remind us of your name?
Jessica, I'm the Director of Development for the foundation.
Questions for Jessica?
Not a question, but I wanted to share a comment, Jessica, with you and the team. It was my first time seeing the literacy caravan, the inside of it. I've obviously seen pictures, as we all probably have, of the inside and outside. And I was blown away. It was amazing. Like, the inside was so spacious, extremely user-friendly. Lots of kids were in there. We didn't go over capacity, so I snuck in when there was a spot for me. But just seeing everyone interacting, like adults and children together, grandparents and grandkids, was really awesome. And I saw some kids interacting with the smart board, so that was really cool too. So I know that for me, actually seeing it was really exciting, because it's different when we see pictures and we kind of talk about the technology that's in that bus. So that was really awesome. Great job with that. Thank you.
On to item number 14, report from the Friends of the San Antonio Library. And I know John's not here. No representative? Okay. We'll move on. Item number 15, receive an update on the World Heritage Center capital project. This is an information item.
As discussed earlier at the Facilities Committee, we did present, the World Heritage Office made a presentation for some improvements at to their World Heritage Center over at the Mission site. So I'll go ahead and introduce Colleen Swain. She has her design team here, and she can go ahead and go through the presentation, and we'll see if there are any questions afterwards. This is just an information item as well.
Yeah. Good evening, Board of Trustees. I'm glad to be here. I'm Colleen Swain, Director of the City of San Antonio's World Heritage Office. And with me today, I do have our consultant, Jeff Edwards from Munoz, our project manager, Bobby Garcia from Public Works, and then Kimberly Morales from Arts and Culture. So as he mentioned, I'm here to talk about the World Heritage Center. It is a project that actually the idea came from the public series of community outreach we did after we got World Heritage designation. And I've already introduced our consultant Munoz. Dunaway is also on this project team, and we hired the Whitty Museum to do an interpretive plan. We went to HDRC on May 18th of this month and received final approval for the center, and we're anticipated to break ground this fall, and we will be substantially complete in 2023, opening in the spring of 2024. Next slide, please. So this is the site plan. It's kind of small, but just to remind you that there is a phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1 includes the World Heritage Center and then parking that will be directly in front of the Mission Marquee. It also includes some additional parking in front of the Mission Branch Library, and completion of the walking trails that were contemplated in the master plan, and then a connection from the World Heritage Center to the Mission Branch Library, then to Roosevelt on to Mission San Jose. And this is all on the location of the former Mission Drive-In. Next slide, please. So this is a close-up. You can see in between those two arrows, that's the driveway into Mission into the Mission Drive-In. The library is on the lower end of the slide, and then you can see the location of where the World Heritage Center will be. And then I'm going to walk through the views real quickly. Okay, next slide, please. So this is a view from the street so that you can see that the parking will be camouflaged. There will be a bioswale there. We are working with the San Antonio River Authority on that project. Next slide. And this is the screen. So there was some funding from the Tricentennial Commission, $845,000, and we worked with our Department of Arts and Culture to identify an artist, and that artist is Adriana M. Garcia. You may recognize her name from the book festival. And so we were very happy to work with her. And she's developed this screen that you see. You can see that there is a bird and nopal. So she did a lot of interviews with the community, the indigenous community, and the neighborhood. The water bird represents life, and the life that was supported from the riverway. And then the nopal is to represent the resilience of the people who were here before the Spanish, and the flowers that it provides and the sustenance that the nopal provides. These will be at the entryway of the center, and then there will be a repeating pattern. You see that floral pattern, and she drew inspiration from the Spanish, the World Heritage Spanish Colonial Missions. And so this really represents kind of that interweaving of cultures, which is the reason why we got the World Heritage designation. Next slide. So this is the entryway, and you'll see the bird will be on one side, nopal on the other, and then the repeating tile pattern around. And when this is it'll provide shade, and it'll also provide a very nice pattern on the exterior patio space of the World Heritage Center. Some additional close-ups. And this will be, you'll see the repeating tile pattern from the Mission Branch Library. So just want to give you a view of that. And that is really all. I just wanted to provide to you an update on that design enhancement, that screen, and what that would look like. So if there's any questions, we're more than happy to answer those questions. And we're very excited. The bond passed, so there is a phase 2. And we are already working with the library. They're a great collaborative partner for us at Mission Drive-In. We manage the Mission Marquee Plaza. We work with the YMCA, and so as part of phase 2, we'd also like to do a master signage plan, and excited about all the collaborative programming that can happen at this site. So.
Thank you, Colleen. The design looks beautiful, looks really exciting, looks very appropriate. I'm excited to see it bloom like the nopalitos. Any questions for Colleen? No? Okay. Great. Continue. Good luck. Thank you. Move on to item number 16, review and consider approval of the proposed design for the library's Texana collection at Central.
The action item that was actually brought to the Facilities Committee, and they recommended that it come to the board for your consideration. So this is the design for the Texana 2017 bond program, the $700,000 project, and then the foundation was also providing some fundraising with that, which provided some additional funding for it. So I'll go ahead and introduce Jennifer Gilbert. She was Marmon Mock Architecture, along with Brian Harkowitz. He's also working on the project, but Jennifer's going to walk us through the slides, and then afterwards we'll go over a few questions, and then we'll have an action item afterwards. So.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. So just to kind of get started and get everybody orientated to the 6th floor, in case you aren't terribly familiar with it, that large white area in the middle is the atrium. So you can kind of know that the 6th floor kind of revolves around that atrium. Up in the upper left-hand corner where the purple is located, that's the where the stairs and the elevator and elevator lobby are at, which are going to act as the main entrance to this floor. And then down in the lower right-hand corner, that purple area is marketing. So pink is the kind of bond area that we're first working with, what we're calling kind of phase 1, and then the yellow areas where the collections are at is phase 2. Next slide. So this is kind of an overall vision for what we're looking for the floor. We want to expand the vault, add a gallery and exhibit area, bring the microform cabinets out for easier access, have an expanded family history area, add the addition of a flexible classroom, and expand our collection area for Texana at a conference room. We're going to have a Connect computers for the community, as well as a study area and a listening station, and then the addition of a quarantine room. And so we'll dive into these a little bit deeper on the next slide. So overall, our inspiration for color and palette for this floor is the library itself, but it also is supposed to be representative of just Texas overall. And so this image of the sunset really embodied all of those colors that we're trying to see in the space. Looking at the enlarged kind of bond area, you'll see the expanded square footage that we've added to the vault area, along with a preservation work area. So there'll be spaces for staff here, but it will also give them an area to spread out and work through materials. The purpose of the quarantine room is so that when new items come into the collection, they can be inspected and make sure that they're free of any kind of pest or contaminant that might harm any of the other existing items in the collection. And then, like I had mentioned before, we'll have a collaborate space, so an 8-person meeting room that can be used by staff and community. The next big exciting area for Texana is the flexible classroom. So we had a need from the community for this to be an 80-person meeting room. So we have a large storage area there so that the seating can be reconfigured, so if tables wanted to be added, and it can be used for lectures, for group meetings, and then it also has a little kitchenette area that will serve with a refrigerator, a microwave, and a sink to support any meetings that are happening in that room. This is just to show you the flooring that we're proposing and also the wall covering inside the flexible classroom. And then we have our family history area. So like I said before, we have additional seating, but we're also going to be adding some graphic end panels and also adding tables and chairs that can be used for bringing out materials from the shelving to further any research or study that needs to happen. And then this is an example of the graphic end panels for that family history area. The listening station is basically an acoustic booth. It's going to have a table and a couple chairs inside of it, and it is going to be where you can come and you can listen to recorded histories. Our desire in that expanded vault area is to have some high density filing so that we can be better and more efficient about the way that materials are stored. So we'll have spaces for books, shelving for boxes, but we'll also have the ability to hang framed art pieces. The Texana Reading Room, we are going to be retaining all of our existing tables and chairs that we have now. So we will be refinishing those to give them a refreshed look and also adding new upholstery to the chairs. We are also adding to all of the reading room tables some updated LED light fixtures along with tabletop power access. In our entrance that we talked about, we want to add the gallery and exhibit area along with a donor wall. So our goal here is to reuse some of the existing benches that we have, refinish the existing display cases that are available, but we want to add some additional seating and also add art rails in the space so that we have a chance to display more of the artwork that we have in the collection, along with adding a new display cabinet for more lay-down type materials. In this area, and some of you may remember, but in the big meeting room, right as you walk into Texana, has end-cut mesquite flooring. And so originally our desire was to try and salvage as much of that as we can. And in talking in conversations with our contractor, it's not quite as easy to remove the end-cut mesquite as I had hoped it would be. So we're gonna try and salvage as much as that as we can to reuse in our donor wall and then come back in with brand new flooring, but keeping that mesquite flooring in a new way. We're gonna add the Texana Connect computers for the community. They are located adjacent to the service desk and will give patrons access to genealogy sites. And like the family history area, the Texana collection area will have the same additional tables and chairs so that materials can be brought out of the shelves to be used for study and research. We'll also be adding graphic end panels to this collection area as well. And the next slide will show an example of what that will look like. It's showing a little purple on the screen here, but in reality, that'll be more blue. The microform collection is kind of split into two areas. There is the this kind of workstations that you're seeing on the upper left-hand corner are to house the existing microfiche readers that we have, and those will be located adjacent to the filing cabinets. On the opposite side of the floor, closer to the service desk, you'll see that we have 4 workstations that are for digital scanners and computers. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Mark. And if you have any questions that I can answer for you.
Any design questions? Some of the design, as you can see, we did respond to a lot of the input that we've had from stakeholders over the years. And the original concept was to have a 30-person flexible classroom. Then that was moved up to 80. So Jennifer and her team did a great job of redesigning that space to accommodate. We considered additional needs in the kitchen area with the kitchenette to include the sink and refrigerator, as Jennifer had mentioned, for people if they want to have coffee or popcorn at a meeting or something. And the original tables and study carrels will be reused. We'll refurnish them and make them nicer. And then, as Jennifer had mentioned, while it's not necessarily feasible to reuse the mesquite flooring, we are going to keep mesquite in the building and use that for the donor wall and area flooring. So, and then the budget, we have the foundation has raised almost $450,000 to date for the Texana area, and I know that they're still continuing to work towards getting more funds. And then that combined with the $700,000 that we had approximately 1.3 or what does that work out to be? 1.1 million, something like that. Is it my math right? Look to my fiscal folks for that. But we are proceeding along with the funds that we have in place for now. But then we're also working, because there's a strong desire from the community and from library staff to not have to close Texana twice, because we now have the bond has been approved for the 2022 bond. So we have been assured by Public Works that we will be able to access some of those funds to continue with the Texana project, and we will continue our plan is to complete the entire $2 million design for the entire 6th floor. So that's going to be an exciting project. We're still working through a lot of the details, but as you can see with the current schedule, we're looking to start construction this summer. We're going to be going to City Council in June with the construction contract, and then we'll be starting in the summer, and the project will take probably 9 months, and then we'll see what we have to do to extend the additional work to get more the rest of the work done up on the 6th floor to see if that extends any longer. And then these are some of the areas that we're working on that we have fallen short on in the fundraising up to this point, but we'll use the additional funds from the new bond to complete many of these areas. So, And then there is an action item. We do have the additional steps, obviously, are continuing fundraising, and we'll continue to working with Public Works on the 2022 bond program and to get those funds available as quickly as we can, so we do not have to close twice. And then the action item would be to approve or amend the proposed design for the Texana collection at the Central Library. Any questions?
First of all, I mean, Jennifer, thank you very much for that. And I think it's looking great. I'm so happy to hear that y'all are able to get creative, work to get that funding released maybe a little sooner so that we can do it all at one time and not have to have a stagger, start, stop, start again situation. So that's very encouraging. I was wondering about that. Any questions for Mark or Jennifer? Yeah. Jeremy?
And maybe, I don't know if maybe I missed it, but I wanted to ask, I think one of the things that I thought about so much in regard to archives and to historic documents are air control, so humidity control and things like that, and the other being some of those they're more like water, other types of protections against water coming into that specific floor. And I guess it's kind of difficult being one floor, how you control that. But is there, I guess, I'm assuming that was kind of thought about, but could you tell me a little bit about that?
Already has provisions in it for humidity protection. It does run on its own HVAC system. And if I misspoke, let me know. But, and that will continue even in the expanded vault. We will be conscious of the humidity levels and then also fire protection for that space.
So that particular piece doesn't get upgraded or changed in any way? It's just...
It will get upgraded.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, it'll need, because we are expanding the square footage, it also needs to have a better capacity.
Thank you. This looks really, really awesome, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Questions? Yeah, I mean, it's very exciting. I mean, as I alluded to earlier, it was nice to see how the book festival, celebrates and literacy and helps promote that, and it shows our values. I think the fact that we're putting so much money into this project in particular shows how we value, holding on to that history and that legacy of information, and to be good stewards and caretakers of it, so it's around for a long time. So great. I appreciate that update, and we do have an action item here, so I will entertain any motions that anyone would like to place out there.
I approve the proposed design for the Texana collection at the Central Library.
Perfect. So we have a motion from Marcy. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Appropriately seconded by Jeremy. Wonderful. Do we have any discussion or questions? Yeah, it looks very exciting. Great. So let's, once again, any questions, further discussion on that action item? Okay. If you could take us through a vote, please, Lynn.
This is a roll call vote to approve the design as presented for the library's Texana collection at the Central Library. Joanne Harris?
Yay.
Jeremy Landine? Yes. Paul Stahl? Yes. Juspreet Kaur? Yes. Marcy Ince? Yes. Lyndon Aaron? Yes. The motion passes.
Thank you everyone, and thanks again, Jennifer, for your work. We love Marmon Mock. They've always done a great job for our libraries. Next item number 17, consider closure of the San Antonio Public Library System on October 10th, 2022 for Indigenous Peoples Day, and to also conduct a staff day. This is an action item. I was wondering where Ramiro was while I was talking. I felt a little alone, but apparently he's right up there in front of me.
I'm right over here, yes. So I could address this item. So we're requesting from the library board authorization to close the library system on October 10th so we can hold a staff day. By way of background, since 2005, that's the year I arrived, I've been here a long time, Libraries has held 8 all-day staff days, and all of those 8 times we had to close the library system in order to bring all our employees in one place so that we could participate in staff development activities. The last staff day was held in 2018. We paused having staff days, then COVID hit. The focus of this particular, and we're not calling it Staff Development Day for a particular reason. We want this day to focus on the employee. We want to celebrate the fact that the employees have moved forward and endured and continued to serve and continue to perform even in spite of the pandemic. And so this is an opportunity to celebrate and congratulate staff for their resiliency and for the continued commitment to the organization. We will incorporate opportunities for programs and activities that focuses on employee well-being. That's our current focus, is the well-being of our employees. So there will be a lot of activities related to that. Next slide. All right, so go back to the previous slide then, so I can expand on that. So I'd like to take this opportunity to share with the board some of the things that library administration is doing to reach out to our employees and to address any issues relating to employee well-being. In fact, I established a working group, which is led by Dr. Haley Holmes, who is here, to create a work group from all levels of the organization, professional, clerical, support staff, to look at and make recommendations to library administration on what else we could do to address the concerns of our employees throughout the library system. I should add that the city's HR on a citywide basis has also picked up their pace in terms of, as it relates to addressing the well-being of employees and providing more resources, providing more support. In fact, also looking at compensation and other benefits that the city can provide, and activities and services and support the city can provide, again, to address the well-being of our employees. So back to the request for this evening is to close the library system, again, on October 10th. This day, which was known as Columbus Day, is now Indigenous Day. Is being targeted because generally, banks are closed, federal offices are closed, city offices are not closed, city services will not be closed. But other businesses, again, as I indicated, will close, and generally the public think that most businesses and public services are closed. So that's why we selected October 10th. A comprehensive communication plan will be initiated, will be put in place so that we can inform the public of this upcoming closure if approved by the library board. And I'm happy to respond to any questions.
Questions or?
Yeah, I just want to say that I think that the timing is appropriate, particularly after the very concerning letter tonight, that you're bringing the staff back together, and I know that it's just been so awkward with the pandemic that this has not been able to happen. So I think it's very important, and I'm so applaud you for moving forward with this. I think the other question I had is just, I must be the last to know, is Columbus Day officially now Indigenous People Day? I mean, is that official?
So,
Or are we being rebels? I mean, I'm just curious.
That's my understanding, but I'm going to look at staff. From the city?
Yeah, it's a community.
It's official? I mean,
Community
for us here,
decision, right? Different communities have different takes on that, but I believe our community, the city of San Antonio, has done that, from what I heard.
Yeah.
Good question. Thank you.
Questions or motions?
That we approve the request for the closure of the San Antonio Public Library System on Monday, October 10th, 2022, to conduct a staff day.
I'll second.
Any other discussion?
Yes, I have a couple of questions. Is this
I would hope that it'd be an annual event. Yes.
This particular request is
Th-
just
th-
for
This particular
date.
request is just for next year, for October 10th, 2022. But if I understood your question, and maybe I didn't, would it be something that the library administration would have every year? That would be the hope, yes. But the request is for just one day, Monday, October 10th, 2022.
Is there any reason we wouldn't just, as a board, amend this action to have it every year?
I would say, even though I support having this as an annual event, my recommendation would be carry forward with the item as presented, and then have it considered, and then we can have the actual dates, or maybe we don't know the dates, but at least show support for this being an annual event. That's my opinion.
And then another question that I have, actually, my second question is not pertinent to the action. It's a general question about staff day, so I'll hold it until after everyone else can weigh in and do them.
Just maybe this is something the budget committee could think about in the future, putting that as a line item, because these things cost money.
Yep,
That's a
I like that.
fantastic point, that to do something of that nature would require making sure that we're allotting for it properly in a fiscal way. So that's great input, great point. I mean, I very much support this. Ramiro's always put the library staff first, and their personal and professional development is hugely important to him, and it shows in this item that of how he wants to, not just him, but also Haley and the rest of the staff who worked on this concept, this idea for how we can better support the library staff. I mean, many of these great programs and ideas that we hear about here are staff driven, right? And it comes from supporting that staff that they feel that they can, that they do contribute and can have their ideas and opinions heard. So I'm very much in support of this. Any other questions or comments?
You could line up somebody to come and do yoga lessons.
I could do that. We could start this staff day with a nice some sun salutations, get everyone breathing and moving, attentive and present.
We want board engagement. We would plan to invite the board.
Trying to add to the motion there, but we won't allow that. Any other questions or comments? Okay. So we have a motion, we have a second, and we have no further discussion. I'll go ahead and call for the vote.
This is a roll call vote for approval of the closure of the San Antonio Public Library System on October 10th, 2022, Indigenous Peoples' Day, to conduct a staff day. Joanne Harris? Jeremy Landine?
Yes.
Paul Stahl?
Yay.
Preet Kaur? Yes. Marcy Ince? Yes. Linda Nairn? Yes. The motion passes.
Thank you, Ramiro, for making this a priority.
Thank you.
Item 18, which is a review of parliamentary procedures within the Texas Open Meeting Act. It's an information item. It's doomed again. Steve is not able to be with us today. I've elected to postpone this item, right? Not table it, but postpone this item. So also we can have more attendance. It's kind of it's a refresher that we have occasionally, and I certainly don't mean to diminish its importance by having it postponed twice in a row, but I felt that was probably best, since if Steve was going to do this, it would have been remote, probably wouldn't have had the same impact, and I want it to have some impact. So that is the last item.
Mr. Chair, could I ask a follow-up item, and it doesn't need to be discussed today, just a request for the director. I would love to hear, and I'm sure the other trustees would as well, some other insights that you've learned as part of your special team that's looking at the staff, what the needs of the staff are, because you've mentioned a couple times that you have like a really great cross-section of people from across the library system. So if it is not asking too much, maybe next time, in our next board meeting, you can give us an overview of some insights that you've learned and what might be different in this upcoming staff development day from the one in 2018.
I think that's an excellent idea. It'll give me an opportunity, and I'll invite Haley to make that report. She's worked very hard in bringing together, again, a large group of library employees from all levels of the organization, and they've provided some initial feedback, so we will have more feedback at that time.
Thank you.
Motion for adjournment? Marcy, come on, and we don't need to take a vote on that, so thank you all very much. This concludes our meeting.